Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about 3%, Season 2, Episode 2. It's called Chapter 2, Toaster. So, full spoilers for the episode. I feel like the titles of this show, I remember this last year as well, they always just picked like one word, and it was all, sometimes it was just kind of funny sounding.
Seems really random.
Yeah, Toaster. And sure, we've seen the episode, we know what it's referring to, but it's just,
Yeah, if you see, this because obviously Netflix tells you the episode titles
Yeah.
before you go on it. It goes, oh, this one's called Toaster. Okay, and obviously these ones, I think, actually it comes up at the start of the episode.
It does,
tells
yeah.
you, with on a big black screen.
A big black screen.
Well, shut up.
It's a title card, yes.
Shut up.
I was watching this movie and then it ended. It was weird. There was a scrolling white text on a big black screen.
Look, sometimes big black screen has more effect than title card.
Anyway, so last episode was very much Joanna and
We're off to
Michelle.
a great start.
Right? Look, they weren't the characters in this episode, so I had to think about it for a second. There was very much Joanna and Michelle, whereas this episode was very much Raphael and Fernando, and who's around them. There was a lot about Joanna, don't get me wrong, but it was
Yeah, it was
mostly
like-
focused on them.
One seed of Michelle, which I thought was weird. I was like, why is this even in this episode?
I was just kind of placing it because it was like part of the scene we'd already seen. There was like another perspective because it was like Raphael's perspective when they first arrived. It was kind of that.
No, not that scene. The scene with her in the process building.
Oh right. Oh yeah, I know what you're saying now. Yeah, when she's do you know what's funny about that scene actually? It's because it's when she's came back with Ezekiel and they're back in the process building, and she's walking down the walkway. And he's like, oh, does it bring up memories and all that? I'll be honest, it took me a second to realise it was her because I'm so used to her looking so frumpy, and she's like in this dress with her hair all nicely done, and I'm like,
And huge earrings, I might add.
and earrings, like she's all made up, it's like she's going to a party, and I'm like, this is weird. I'm so used to her like her hair just sort of sticking out, and she's in a t-shirt. This is bizarre.
Yeah.
It took me a second. It really did.
I will say I don't. That's pretty much I'll get my biggest criticism out of the way. There is I don't know why that scene's in this episode because that was just over halfway, and I was like, okay, so we're not really going to see her. We'll shift back to her focus next episode or whenever however they're going to divvy it up after this. But when that came in, I was like, oh, so we are doing some of her stuff this episode, and then that was it. It feels really weird.
Okay, I think maybe it just fit because of where it is. Maybe it just fits there. I wonder though. It depends because if next episode we focus on Michelle and it flashes back to her first arriving at the building, it'll feel weird that they put that scene in. If they don't, if it's from we just move forward in time now in present day. Obviously, I still expect we'll get flashbacks to offshore time, during the year because we seem to be doing that with various characters. But then that won't be as weird because it's like, okay, it just fits this part of the timeline because this is like just before everyone's arriving.
I get that. I just question why we don't do this 30-second scene next episode with her stuff at the start of her stuff if necessary.
Yeah, it could be the opening scene the next episode, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that would work well. Yeah, I don't know. The scene's fine. It's nothing wrong with the scene itself. It's just
just its placement it feels weird to me.
Bizarre choice. That's fair. So we'll stick with Raphael then. We get him kind of. He's trying to build this radio because he's meant to make a radio so he can contact the cause back in the inland, and it's not working. Like all the technology is so advanced here, they don't have parts that he can just rip apart. In fact, I get confused for a second because I thought his computer was his cooker was like a screen, and I was like, well, does the screen just heat up? Like what's happening?
Yeah, because it has like a screen built into it.
Well, yeah, but he still put his hand in it though. The hob actually sunk in, so that it's not just a screen.
No, I'm agreeing with them. I'm saying it had a screen built in, which is why I thought that at first.
Oh yeah, but it looked like one big TV essentially at first,
It
which
did,
was
yeah.
circles. I thought, well, does the screen just heat up? But it did actually have like the hob had like a pit that his hand went in when he intentionally burned his hand. Because he wanted to get to the doctor so he could ask if Michelle was still around. Because he hadn't seen her since she'd been taken away to the rehab. He's just like, what's going on? And he ends up flirting with the doctor a little bit, and she's got this fancy tech that fixes his hand.
Yeah.
Layers
I will
and
say
shit.
there's probably less painful ways to go to a doctor than sticking your hand in that burning hot thing.
There probably is, but he's like, this just made sense to him there in the moment. He saw it and he went,
Sure.
I can stick my hand in this, and I can say that I slipped and my hand went in it.
I get that. It just seemed like okay, that was extreme.
Plausible deniability.
Sure, why not?
I don't know why I'm tempted to say that, like, the Lethal Weapon 2 guy.
Yeah,
Diplomatic immunity. Plausible deniability. I don't know, for some reason it just makes me think of that phrase.
They got the same cadence, don't they?
They do. So he ends up flirting with the doctor a little bit, Eliza, and that's fine. And she's like, "Oh, you want to see this girl because you fell in love with someone in the process." And he's kind of going along with that. Really, he's just like, "Oh, it's cause business." So I talk to her about the cause.
Yeah.
And he does get to see her, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm out. Like, they lied to me about my brother. Like, they basically just like manipulated me to be part of the cause. So you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm not. You can do what you want, but I'm not." And he's all kind of like torn up with this. He goes to this speed dating thing, I'll call it.
It's the thing from this last season of Black Mirror,
I mean, it's not as far along as that,
but it's the same concept.
it's similar. Basically, they've got these bracelets, and they tap them with like another person at this, this mixer on the beach,
Yeah,
and
the
it gives them a
rings.
percentage of like how compatible they are. And he meets this girl who seems really very nice. They get an 87% match. He's like, "Oh, that's really high. Oh, that's great. Let's talk." And he's kind of like, "Oh no, it's fine. I'm just going to go leave." And she's all disappointed. And I do feel like he was maybe just being a little bit weird because she was ginger, and I feel like he maybe said, "I don't care how high the percentage is. I'm not doing it."
I think you're projecting your own personal bias here.
I thought she was lovely. I just wanted to crack my ginger joke.
Yeah, yeah.
They set it up for me. I just had to do it. But he runs into the doctor, Eliza, and they're like, "Oh, this is shit." But yeah, they got booze, and there's like, "Oh, since we're here, let's tap our things together," and they get like 1.3% or something like that.
1.4.
Was it 1.4? There you go. I thought there was an opportunity there. It should have been 3%. That'd have been maybe on the nose, but
Yeah, I think I would have critiqued it.
I guess it's fine. It's just a number. There's nothing wrong with number 3. It's fine. But they're like, and obviously they're like, "Oh well, we should probably just stay apart then, because we'd cause a disaster." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm kind of reading this almost as like, oh, you can't predict compatibility between people. It's impossible. Like sometimes opposites do attract, and that's or even just in a more kind of sexy way. The danger of being a disaster is kind of what makes it exciting. So go
Sure.
for it, whatever. Regardless, though, they end up having sex, being a couple. But she's got a mechanical toaster because the toasters on the offshore are too perfect. She likes an old school toaster to get it uneven and like the old days. So he's finally got parts to steal. So we actually see that he's still with her in present day. He's been with her for basically the whole year between processes, and they seem to be living together as well. And he's got his radio, and he's been talking out, and she catches him with it at one point, and he kind of makes.
He's not exactly, particularly well hidden, is he?
He's not. You kind of get the impression that he's not been able to use it well because she is always there. So he's kind of like risking it because he thinks he's not going to get back. Because one of the first things we have with him, of course, is this test. Marcella's got him in this AI kind of like virtual test where he's on his own. He's trying to capture this bad guy in the simulation, and he fails. A pigeon flies at him, so he fails. And she's like, "Oh, you're not going back. You're not being on my not army. Army's the wrong word, but my security force. You're not doing that. Like you failed. Tough tits. You're done."
Yeah, try again for next year.
And so he thinks he's not coming back, but he's trying to send a warning message that Michelle's turned sides. You can't trust her. You can't trust her. And he gets caught. And Eliza's like, "Hey, well," he gives this story about how he's like, "Oh, it made me feel better because I could talk to my family and let them know I was okay." And she points out, clearly something he doesn't know, is that any radio signals will just be bounced back. Like they're protected, so no one can do
blocked.
it. And he's like, "Oh, I know that, but
It makes me feel better.
therapeutic,
Yeah.
therapeutic." And she's like, "Okay, you're not going to report me, are you?" "No, don't worry." I'm like, "Okay, we'll see how this goes." But he convinces Marcella to give him another try. He's like, "No, let me do the mission again. Let me do the training. Let me prove I can do it."
On the condition that he has to not only just do it, he has to beat the record which she had set.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. Well, it's more than 2 minutes, but because I remember a couple of minutes into it, she's like, "Oh, you've got 2 minutes left to do this," and he ends up tricking the AI into sort of like coming out of hiding by making him cough, and and succeeds, and he gets out and he's all happy. She's like, okay, go pack. And he gets back to the house and it's been ransacked and his radio's gone, and then he gets knocked out and he's in the woods and it's like black ops and they're there and like, oh, who you who's your boss, who's your superior, who do you swear allegiance to? And he keeps yelling Marcella, Marcella, and then they bring out Eliza and they hold a gun to her head and he's like, no, I don't know anything, I swear I'm allegiance to, and I immediately went, okay, this is a test. This isn't. Now, I'll admit, I didn't go to this is a simulation still. I didn't go to that at first. I just thought this was actual people scaring the shit out of him.
I did it first, and then as soon as they stabbed him in the leg, and he did not react strongly enough, because he kind of looks down, he doesn't notice it at first almost. There's a delay where it's not until he looks down at it and realizes that it's there that he properly reacts.
Yeah, and had it not been a test, you could explain that away, because that is a thing where you don't necessarily realize you've been hurt right away, and
No, it's true.
I mean, that is a thing that happens, but that does help explain what actually happens. Is eventually, the circle of light that sort of is over his head when he's in these simulations like lifts up again, and like Marcella's just sort of smirking at him. All right, you can go pack.
I'd have to question so, because obviously he lets her get shot, but what he's saying before I thought was really interesting, because he says no, she had nothing to do with it, she didn't know anything. He doesn't say I didn't know anything, I don't know. He's saying it's almost like they're implying there is something that he is aware of.
It was very careful.
She isn't to do with it.
It was very careful phrasing, because the exact phrase, at least that I picked up on, he may have said a few different things, but one of the phrases he definitely said was, she has nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Right? And that works in context. She has nothing to do with this.
But he definitely said she doesn't know anything. Yeah,
she doesn't know anything. Yeah. But she seems convinced. I mean, she might be faking it.
Maybe.
Wouldn't be out of the norm for this show for that to be because I think Marcel is obviously an interesting addition to the cast. We'll talk about another couple of additions in a little bit with other plots, but so he gets to go with her. But he definitely cares for Eliza, because when he sees her, when he comes back after this, he like hugs her and he's like distraught because he just lived through her getting shot, and he was willing to let her die to keep his cover.
Yeah, exactly. And but I realize as well from Marcella, we're building this rivalry between her and Ezekiel.
Yeah, well,
they're Ezekiel's infiltrators.
That was the interesting part. If she wasn't looking out for cause infiltrators, she was looking out for Ezekiel infiltrators.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, unless she has a suspicion that they are one and the same.
Oh, possibly, yeah, maybe. She might.
I don't know, but either way, I like they're building this rivalry.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It definitely means the entire process will have a different focus. And I think it's funny, because I'm not actually sure when we'll get to the process, because it was still 6 days for most of this episode, and it could jump to just the first day of the process next episode. I don't think it will, because of Joanna and Fernando's setup at the end. It feels like that'll at least be an episode of them trying to do something else. It almost
feels like the process would start on the last day of the season.
It almost does, but at the same time, I don't know if that is necessarily how it's going to go.
No, I don't either. We'll give it, see how the pace continues.
It would be interesting if it was next episode, though, because it would mean that, because season 1 had 8 episodes, this has 10. It'd be interesting if it had 2 episodes and then the process started. It'd be like, oh no, the process is the same length, but we had 2 extra episodes. It would be interesting. But no, hey, regardless. So he gets to come. He's coming to be part of security force, and obviously he's with Eliza, who's there to be the doctor and whatnot. So that's that stuff. And then I thought Fernando's plot was quite interesting, because his was it his dad or his uncle who's the?
I think it's his dad.
Yeah. It's been a while since we watched season 1, but he's he's still doing his preaching. He's doing all this, and we meet Gloria, who's this someone. It's funny actually. They're making all these jokes that he's this old man now because he's past the process, but he's actually only a year older because they're about to go into it. So he's 21 and she's 20. But I was saying last episode how I was expecting. We'll probably meet a character or two who's going to be in the process this year to give us some attachments to what's going on, and here we are. Here's Gloria, and clearly the one who we're going to know who's inside the process.
Yeah, I did like as well, but when we shifted over to this, some of the way that they did the connective tissue in the edits was, the radio signals is how we shifted, because we were dealing with the radio stuff
Yeah.
with Raphael, and then we cut over to all these people tuning in with their makeshift radios to listen to the preacher.
Yeah, I like this a lot actually. I love the idea that a character came to Fernando, one of our characters, for advice. Oh, okay, can you tell us about the test you did? What happened in there? Can you like train us and try and help us like pass? And he does like a mock interview where she comes in and sits down, and he immediately starts asking these.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting at first though he's really hesitant. He's kind of like no, and
Oh yeah,
she has to talk him into it. And it was just you'd still be living in the sewers if not for me. I think it was.
yeah. Well, we saw him with Joanna last episode, way back at the start of the timeline from after the last process. He wasn't in a good place. It seems like she helped him, pardon the expression, get back on his feet. So I think what was interesting to me about this though is the mock interview is like, as much as he seems like he's being harsh, it's actually, we saw the interviews last season. He is just emulating what they do. He is. Yeah. This is accurate what he's asking. It may not be the exact question she gets hit with, but it be something similar. Or be just as hard hitting.
The tone isn't it?
But the real fun stuff though. Now, obviously, we learned some stuff about her. Her mother was horrible and tried to kill her and didn't think she was worthy of the procession, left because of that. All this horrible stuff. So we're getting to know her a little bit of sympathy for her. So we're, already after one episode with her, I feel like, okay, I kind of care a little bit about her. I care about her getting through the process or not, or whatever.
It's funny because these interviews are an easy way to get out some exposition.
They are, yeah.
That feel natural for them. Okay, this is the point of the interview.
I think the twist with this, though, compared to last season, is that because it's Fernando, he's a character who actually cares about her, so he actually reacts to it.
Rather than just being a cold face.
Yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, that had its own effect as well last season when they were all just sitting there stone cold, as they were getting these emotional, heartfelt admissions and so on. But yeah, but the real fun stuff though is later on where he's like, okay, can we do a mock game? One of the tests you guys got, and we remember the one with the cubes, and obviously they don't have the budget, and then land to actually have cubes. So it's like, okay, we'll do something similar, right? So paper cubes, you all make paper cubes, and he gets them on tables. And, oh man, this is bringing back so many memories of last season with them all on the tables.
And I was like, oh, is this going to end the same way?
And it kind of does. Someone cheats. Someone tries to,
It's a slightly different cheat, but it's a cheat nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's Gloria's friend, and she's really pissed. She's really angry, and she's like, "Hey, Fernando, this is not fair. Like, she cheated. I should be getting put through." And Fernando again, he saw this more or less happen, and he saw that it didn't matter, and he's like, "No, tough. Like, this is what it's like in there. You can't get backstabbed. You have to be aware of that."
Definitely. Also, Gloria has a thing with a water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely going to come up as an important plot piece later.
She had it with her in all the mock tests and stuff.
Yeah, she makes a point of saying, it calms her down to drink from it. It focuses her. And like even during the cubes, there it's like, oh, you got 3 minutes. She stops to take a drink in those 3 minutes.
Mm.
I think, oh, that's interesting. You haven't got that much time, but you're taking 10, 15 seconds to take a drink.
I don't think there is, but it makes me wonder, is there anything else in there besides water?
Right, no, I don't think there is yet.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Given where we're going, I think they might sneak something in the water bottle.
Yeah, something to make her more hyper, that's, throws her off balance or something, I don't know. Or just so someone tries to kill her, I guess. We've seen that happen.
That, or I'm thinking, with, at the end with, Joanna comes in and is like, okay, we need to find another way to not have this bomb go off.
Mm.
Can we get something in the water?
Okay. If nothing else, I can definitely see it being a thing where if she gets towards the end, because remember that the test got a lot more personal towards the end, where they try and test them on.
Gets used against her.
Yeah, well, they'll actually try and use the whole water thing against her. I could see that being something.
Definitely.
So there's definitely potential for that. But no, props to this, because I think she was instantly kind of likable, because she was kind of like confronting Fernando on his bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think that was instantly, okay, she's challenging a character we like, but she's challenging him because he's not being as good as he can be. So you're instantly kind of on her side because you kind of agree with her. Oh no, he can be better. We've seen him be better. So it's a very quick way of making us endeared to her. And then of course the exposition with the backstory also adding to that. So that was good stuff.
And I like that in both these episodes we've had the makeshift process challenges.
Yeah, I know. It's good.
It's a way of it's a nice way of keeping that theme, even though it's been a different way of doing
Yeah,
it.
even Raphael's stuff in the simulator, because it actually intercuts between this game with the cubes and him in the simulator. So it's like they're both happening at the same time, and it's going on. But of course, we have one scene with Joanna and Silas, who's the last episode. I didn't know his name. I called him the cause guy, but his name's Silas, and she's trying to convince him, "Hey, let's find another way. Let's have another method." And he's like, "No, no, I'm sick of losing. This is what we're doing." But she's convinced that if she can give him an alternative, some way that's better. So the episode actually ends with her coming to Fernando to ask him to help come up with an alternative, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. And then until he she flat out says, "Oh, by the way, they're going to blow up like everyone who goes in it." And we've just met Gloria, and we know that Fernando cares about Gloria almost. Okay. Almost to the point where you suspect that maybe the reason why he didn't want to help is because he was almost hoping she'd lose so that she'd stick around and be with him still.
Maybe.
Yeah. There's that kind of selfish thing there, and it's a really sympathetic selfish thing, because I feel like if I was in that situation, the idea that someone who was a year below me, who might go away forever, but you want them to still be in your life, whether it's romantic or not, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you want them to be around. It's sympathetic. You get it.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I really like how she poses this as as a process question as well. It's like, okay, here's one of their style of challenges. How would you interrupt the process? Because that feels like the same sort of thing that we did get in the process. Like, okay, your challenge is to improve the process for the following year, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like that. It's like, okay, but how do you twist that? How do you you can see from the offshore side of how do you stop someone what's the biggest threat for someone who wants to stop the process? What would they do?
Yeah, it's almost like the show is kind of saying that life is nothing but a series of problem solving, and that's partly true in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's kind of, it feels similar to that. And again, on top of everything else, the fact that we know a character who was going to, because obviously before Joanna was like shocked and appalled at the idea of killing all these innocent candidates. It's not them to blame, but this is a bunch of innocent lives.
But to us, it's a faceless mass.
Exactly, and it worked well enough for her in the scene. But now that we have someone in there that we care about, someone who has a face that we know. All of a sudden, there's stakes to that actually happening beyond just Joanna's consciousness, conscience. That's what I say.
Yeah, at the moment, the biggest concerns were obviously Michelle and Raphael. Came over, but in terms of feeling for the inland and all those people, they were just okay. There's a bunch of people going to die. And that's sad, but we don't connect.
Yeah, and in a way, like even though we care about Raphael and Michelle, I think, to an extent, they're not completely innocent. So
no, they're almost in the villainous role here this season.
Yeah, to an extent, and even if you don't necessarily think they are outright villains themselves, and even if you're going to ultimately come down on one or two sides, they've went through enough, and they risked a lot, knowing what they were risking. They're not completely innocent and unknowing. Whereas Gloria and then all the other candidates who are going in are just like these innocent people who have no idea. They're just hoping for a better life, and they're going to die. So. Gloria's the face of innocence, basically. It's
pretty much
what we're getting at, but it works because now the potential threat has stakes to it, and that works. So it's funny because I think early on in the episode I wasn't sure. Okay, is this are we keeping up the momentum here? Is it still going? But I think by the time it ended, everything kind of like tied up together beautifully, and I was like, okay, this is actually really propelled and set up things for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think I like it as a setup. I think it misses some of the the best stuff of the ideological clashes.
Yeah, that was definitely missing in this episode. But we've set up so much.
It did what it had to do. Like I say, it's a little disappointing to not get that, but it's one episode. It's fine. If this is what the extra episodes are for, essentially, is to set up things so that we can have this time later on to have the debates.
Yeah, and I imagine a lot of that will come from Fernando and Joanna and debating, helping the cause, not helping the cause, stopping blowing things up, and even Joanna and Silas, methods of doing it and so on.
Even if eventually do they go, well, if we can't think of anything better, do we blow it up? And they have that debate of should we just do this? I think that could be interesting to see from these characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential ideological debates bubbling away. And I'm really curious to see also how obviously we know Michelle's going to kind of be playing a double agent again, but on the other side, I wonder like where that goes as well this season. I'm really curious. I think it's interesting that immediately our four main characters from season 1 plus a couple of new characters I am invested heavily in what all of their plots are this season already. They all have very interesting. They all connect in some way, but they all have very interesting solo journeys that I can, they've been clearly defined and set up.
They do, but much like last season, Raphael is the weakest for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think his is the least interesting. His is the most straightforward compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, who knows? They might swerve it. Because we were speculating if he had been tempted to just like be happy in the offshore, but seemingly no, he's actually, at least right now, he has still cause.
Yeah,
and he's still
I'm
trying
sure
to stop
for
her.
him it's going to come down to the cause versus Eliza rather than inland versus offshore.
Yeah, because actually that's a good point. There was one little, not a debate in terms of ideology, but when they were having breakfast, and she's like, "Oh, you're not used to this yet," and you feel guilty, and she says something along the lines of, "Oh, you should enjoy it because that's what they expect of you in inland." We, it's a disservice to them for us not to cherish how good this is because, they believe in the process.
There's a logic to it.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. An interesting point to bring up. But hey,
Definitely,
so
it's you should be. You should be happy with what you've got, and you shouldn't be wasteful. Essentially, it's like you should make the most of it.
Yeah. So solid episode 2. Excited to see the rest of the season. We are going through this a little bit slower than we typically do with these Netflix shows because we will be alternating it with other Netflix shows that start this coming Friday. But episode 3, I think we are getting to on Friday itself, so you can expect that. Then.
Busy week, busy time of year.
A busy time of year, absolutely. So, yeah. So that is us. So let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description to that. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?